Hey guys, welcome back. Joe here from 9 to 5ers, and we're going to be talking about something a little bit different here. The 4 color personalities from MLMs, ... and life. I add that little and life at the end there, but it's a book by Tom Schreiter, and it is for people that are in sales, but don't let that discourage you or turn you off from this book. It's a short read. It's to the point. It's great, and it's great for anybody in life that is trying to become a better communicator, not just people in sales. So please pick up this book. You could read it in one day, and it is a great book. And I'm going to do a quick summary here, and hopefully you get some pointers from me and you're enticed to go out and purchase this book or get it from the library. So a quick disclosure here, please use the following information for educational purposes only. We are not lawyers, certified public accountants, or financial advisors. Please seek professional advice on an as-needed basis. Thank you so much. The overview of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about what the book is actually designed to do, so we kind of jump into this the right way, and why you need it. What's the purpose of this? What's the point? And the 4 color personalities, that'll be the heart of the slide here, the presentation: yellow, blue, red, and green. We'll talk about each one of those in a pros and cons list, and then we'll talk about some takeaways here at the end of how you can apply this in your real life. Without further ado, let's just get into it. So the intent of this book, what is the intent? Well, it's intended for an easy way to learn and apply how to diagnose someone's personality and become a more effective communicator to them, and also know a little bit more about yourself, because you'll see that you're probably one of these colors more so than maybe one of the other ones. So this book is definitely not a psychological evaluation or a DISC test. Psychological evaluations or DISC tests are more complicated. They go deeper. And in my opinion, a DISC test is much harder to try to figure out someone in real time because of it's just too complex versus, oh, this person's a red, or oh, this person's a blue, or oh, this person's a green and they got some red tendencies in them. Versus a DISC test of trying to memorize all that and then trying to apply it in real life in conversation. It's really tough to do. So think of this more of like a 10,000-foot view of someone's personality. It's an exaggeration. We're going to exaggerate each one of these color personalities, and you probably are going to see yourself in one of these color personalities, but maybe not to such an extreme. And there's a reason for that we are trying to differentiate each one of these personality types so that you get it, and you're not like, well, isn't that the same as a green? Isn't that the same as a red? Like, I don't understand the difference. We're going to exaggerate it for it to make sense. And this is definitely not 100% accurate colors. You're not going to be 100% red or 100% blue or whatever. You're going to see tendencies in each one of these categories, but more than likely you're going to identify as one of these colors. And what I have kind of realized is that people lead with one primary color. Like, I am a solid blue, and this is what I am, but I have a tendency of green in certain parts of my life depending on it. And the purpose of this is to understand maybe your primary and maybe your secondary color, and then when you're meeting up with people, learning their primary color is obviously the most important part. And this book is neutral. So if you want to use this for evil purposes to manipulate and destroy people's lives, well, stop watching now, because I don't want you to watch this video. But obviously, if the point of this is to identify people's characteristics and become a more effective communicator to them by picking up and using words that they will find that will push their buttons of interest. So why do we need this book? Well, communication of the spoken word is about 7%, and the other 93% is tone and body language. And these percentages might be a little off from depending on what site you're looking at, but the purpose of it is that we're saying here is that in communication, the words that we're actually speaking only account for about 7% of the information getting across. When you drop your tone or speak higher or lower, or you shift your body language, you lean in or you step back, that really brings life to the words that you're talking about and using. if you're a football coach and you're leaning into your team and you're screaming at them and you're yelling, then 7% of the information they're getting is only from the spoken word. They see the redness in your face, that you're leaning in, you're being intense. That means that like you're being very serious and you're trying to get a point across. You're trying to get your team amped up. You're trying to get a point across in a very, very quick amount of time. And the body language and the tone of your voice is way more important. And you'll realize that when you look at these color personalities, you'll know where to put the tone and the body language to emphasize certain words so that you become a more effective communicator. So let's just do a quick imagination here. Why do I need this book? This, like, who cares? Well, just imagine if the United States was, or wherever you live, had 4 distinct languages and everybody only knew one language. So you were in your state and you got 4 neighbors, and one neighbor might speak Mandarin, one might speak English, one might speak Russian, and one might speak Spanish. So you have a 25% chance of being able to have a conversation at all with anybody in any roll of the dice. So how effective can you be if you only speak one language? Well, you're going to be 25% effective. That's the illustration I was trying to get there in that point. And that's the 4 color personalities. And let's just jump into them right now. Yellow. Yellow is Mr. Rogers. They're very slow and deliberate in their decision making, and they are heavily people focused. So let's look at their pros and their cons here. So the pros, I didn't know where to put this. So they tend to be nurses, teachers, and full-time moms. And I don't want people to sit here and think that women can only be yellows and men can't. Men can be yellows too, because this could be looked at as nurses and teachers. Well, that's a heavily female-dominated professions. It's any sort of caregiver situation. If a man is always volunteering for things and he loves to spend his time helping people, then he more than likely is a yellow. A man can be a nurse, a man can be a teacher. The point I'm trying to make here is that just because not all yellows are women, basically. Supportive and caregiving. That's their 2 big things, and they get a lot of enjoyment out of helping other people. Their word is help, and they are great at multitasking for whatever reason. And if you were trying to get a yellow motivated, you'd be like, listen, Janice, we're really going to be helping a lot of people if we get this organization up and running. We need to do this, we need to do that. And these people really, really need our help. And, there's just no one out there that cares about these people like we do. And no one's going to get out there and help. So can you help me volunteer? That person's going to sign up yesterday. And the reason why is because they get a lot of their internal value or just satisfaction from helping other people. They love helping people. I already said that. And they have a high level of credibility for whatever reason. The book says that in there, that because they are people focused and they want to genuinely help people, a yellow has a really, really high level of credibility because their focus is on other people's satisfaction versus their own. So the cons of being a yellow. Well, yellows are wishy-washy. It's a yellow's birthday. What do you want to do, yellow? Where do you want to go to eat? They're going to say, I want to go wherever you guys want to go. So now you have 10 people trying to make a decision on where to go eat. The reason why the yellow wants to go where everybody else wants to go is because they don't want to make a decision that going to a restaurant, some of those people might not like. They want to put the decision back on everybody else, because when they make the decision, that yellow knows that everybody else is happy. So a lot of times they just don't make decisions, which leads to being indecisive. And being wishy-washy and indecisive are a little bit different here, but they will make other people make decisions. They will put off making a decision on anything as long as they possibly can, and hope someone else makes the decision for them, not because they're like dumb or they're afraid. They just they want to make sure that everybody else is having a good time. And things just don't get done unless people need help. And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying that yellows are lazy. I'm saying that yellows are motivated by helping other people. Helping other people gets yellows off their seats and moving. They are the volunteers. They are the nurses that help people. They are the teachers that help the students. They will stay over after class to help that one student. They would be a full-time mom. And they're not big on numbers for whatever reason. Yellows are not bookkeepers. They're not accountants. They're not CPAs. They're not number crunchers. They don't care about the bottom line. They don't care about ROI, because those things don't connect with people. I don't care what our ROI is. How many people did we help? Did we help 50 people? Oh, that's awesome. That's what I really care about. I'm a yellow. So let's move on to the next thing. The blue is the cheerleader. They are spontaneous. They are people focused. And if you see here, people focused is for blues and yellows, but blues are spontaneous. They will make a decision about doing something, and before they've actually figured out the decision all the way in their brains, they're already out the door making that decision happen. They want new experiences, fun, excitement. So if I was trying to get a blue to do something, I'd be like, listen, we're going to go to this brand new place that is super exclusive. You've never heard about it. And there's going to be people there walking on hot coals as a demonstration. There's going to be knife throwers there. Have you ever seen that? No? This is going to be a new experience for you. And we're going to have all these exotic foods that you've never tried before. And there's going to be tons of different foods. And they're going to be all really great to try. And there's going to be tons of interesting people there. And it is going to be the best, exciting time. And you know what? We don't even know what's going to happen. Like, it's going to be, we don't know what's going to happen next. Like, we got some ideas, but we know all that's going to happen, and it's going to be a blast. You want to come? The blue is already on board, and they stopped listening to you halfway through because you already sold them like within the first 3 sentences of it. So they are the popular ones. They're the life of the party. They want to make sure that everybody is having fun, not like in the sense of like what a yellow does, but they want to make sure they are the morale leaders. They're like, I know how to get everybody excited and having a good time, because this is what makes me excited and having a good time. They're very in their own heads in the fact that they think, if this makes me happy, then this should make everybody else happy. They think fast and they act fast. They don't dwell on decisions. They don't sit there and be like, well, what's the pros and cons of this? What should I do? Does this make sense? Let me call up a friend and ask. Let me do this. Let me do some more research. No, if they have a good idea, they are off and running, and they don't want to think about it again. They just know it's fun and it's going to work out and it's going to be great. So let's see if we can't figure out some cons. Well, blues don't listen, and they just can't. Their brains run a mile a minute. They're thinking about the next thing, and when you think of blue as listening, they are just waiting for their turn to talk. They aren't listening. Now, I'm not saying that blues don't listen at all. They are just probably the worst of the 4 when it comes to listening. And they won't follow up either. Like, they are super flaky. They are just not going to follow up. They're not going to send you a text like, oh, hey, you going to be there at 2 o'clock? Like, I'm just making sure. They might not show up. You know why? Because they got distracted by something else that seems to be more fun, and they forgot about your fun thing. And they think they're great multitaskers, but they're actually really terrible at it because they can't focus on anything at all. They're just all over the place. They want to have a good time, and they are great at starting. They think fast and they act fast, but they tend to be crappy at finishing. And I just illustrated that with the last bullet point there. They're not good at finishing. The red, the CEO, anybody that's a politician, a CEO, a manager, anybody, professional athletes, they are the reds. They want to win. They want a challenge. They want competition. Those are the words that really get them pumped up. You wouldn't say that to a yellow. And maybe a blue might get excited about a competition. There's going to be a lot of fun people there, and it's going to be exciting. And then there's a big party afterwards. But a red is going to be like, I want to know who's playing. I want to know what the prize is. I want to know how much money I'm going to get when I win the prize. And I want to know, and I want to make sure everybody knows that I win because I'm the best. They are spontaneous, but they're more focused on ideas, concepts, and results. They are the people that lead a business from one level to the next. They want to get stuff done. They like to be in charge, and they are great at organizing. If you needed a bunch of volunteers to get a bunch of yellow volunteers to get stuff done effectively, you would put a red in charge of them because they're going to be like, you do this, you do that, and that's going to help a lot of people go and do it. They're always focused on improvement, which obviously is great for a company. You know, if you're not growing, you're dying, so to speak. And they love competition and recognition. You know, they want to be the best. They want to be number one in their company. They want to be the one getting promoted. They want to be the one that gets the highest sales bonus. They want to be the number one salesperson. They want to, whatever the first place thing is, that's what they're going for. And they want to make sure everybody knows about it. And they are great leaders in the sense that because they're always trying to improve. And reds tend to make a lot of money. The problems with some reds are the fact that they think they know what's best. And if they know what's best, then they're fine and they're going to do well. But if they think they know what's best and it ain't, then they're in trouble. And they will run really, really, really fast into a brick wall. They are focused on the bottom line and ROI. So they are numbers people. And if we have to fire 10 or 15 people to get a better ROI, then that's what we're going to do. And that's just what needs to be done. I am here to make this company get to the next level. And I don't care what I got to do to make it happen because that's my responsibility. I am focused on the bottom line and the ROI. They tend to be bad listeners because why? Well, it's because they already know the answer. They know what's best. Why am I listening to you? I already know what the answer is. I'm just waiting for you to get done talking so I can just do whatever I was going to do in the first place. I'm not listening to you. I'm a bad listener. I'm a red. And all reds tend to think that they are yellows, but they're not. If you are highly competitive and you want to win, and a lot of times you feel like you're helping people, but in reality, you're actually not. And I'm not sitting here trying to trash reds because a lot of times reds can get a bad rap. If a red starts a company and he or she grows it to, 5,000 or 6,000 employees, they helped 5,000 or 6,000 employees get jobs. And they might be in that mix of people, they might be all different types of colors, but they see helping people differently than what yellows see helping people. So if you're trying to get a red fired up, you're going to be like, listen, man, there's going to be this competition and there's going to be a first place prize. And, they're going to get their information, their name published in the local newspaper. And like that newspaper goes to about 5,000 or 6,000 different people. So 5,000 or 6,000 people are going to be reading your name and you got to challenge them. Reds like a challenge. So you always got to come at them with a challenge. So greens are Mr. Spocks. They are the very deliberate in their decision-making, which is a polite way of saying that they're slow in decision-making, just like the yellows. And they are ideas, concepts, and results focused just like the reds. But they are not out of the gate fast type of people. Your greens are going to be your engineers, your CPAs, your computer nerds, your bookkeepers, your numbers people. They are logical when they think. Everything tends to be black and white with greens. It's either good or it's bad. They want to eliminate the gray as much as possible. I need to know it. I need to know if it's a 1 or a 0. I think in binary terms. Information, and I just put ... but just think of information to the infinite result there. They love information. They want to sit there and look at more information because they don't want to make a wrong decision. They want to make the right decision. They need all the facts, all the data. They need to see it. They need a pros and cons list, just like you're seeing now from here. And greens are motivated from within. And this is the first and only group that is motivated from within. you are not going to get a green motivated. You can't sell a green. And the reason for that is because they have to sell themselves. And the only way to sell a green is to just give them information and let them figure it out on their own. There's no words or twists or turns of phrase or whatever that is going to get a green motivated. They're just going to be like, yeah, that's great, but I just want to see the information for myself. So why don't you send that over? And they also like to be right. And they like to be right, not in the negative way of like, I'm right and you're wrong. They don't want to make mistakes. They like to be right. They want to be correct. They want to make sure they're moving in the right direction at all times. And they rarely stop. And by that means that blues and reds are great out of the gate. Every blue and every red out there is going to get started moving on a concept, an idea, or a business before any green will. But the red and the blue could potentially hit a brick wall. And the reason for that is they didn't figure it out first. They just had an idea and they went running with it. So let's see some cons of the greens here. They lack emotion sometimes. They might just go, you know what? It's black or it's white. It's right or it's wrong. It's a 1 or a 0. We need to get rid of these 10 people to save the business, and that's just the way that it is. And they just are gone. And they are facts-focused, logic-driven, and a lot of times that is very hard for a yellow to figure out. So you can kind of see now, as you've seen all these colors, how if I'm a green and you're a yellow, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like facts, data, information, the yellow is just going to be like, I don't care about any of that stuff. Like, I don't care about numbers. I don't care about the pros and cons. Like, I just want to see, like, is this going to help people, or is it going to like, what are we doing here? Paralysis of analysis. Sometimes greens never get out of the gate because they're too busy getting bogged down in the research of it all. They have to just know one more thing. They have to buy one more course. They have to take one more class. They have to read one more article. And they have to do that until the end of time. Meanwhile, reds, blues, yellows are all out there learning, making mistakes, and making money. Sometimes greens just don't get going. And they need a counterpart, which would be a blue or a red, to be like, hey, listen, man, we've learned enough about this topic. Now it's time to go out there and just figure it out on our own, see what happens. They're slow to get started, and that is the other side of they rarely stop. They're very, just think of like a tiny snowball at the top of a hill. You know, they're the slowest at the beginning, but they will outrun a red or a blue for the simple fact that they will beat them in the long run, but they're slow to get started. So why should I care? You know, I'm not in sales, or maybe I am in sales. Maybe you're not in sales. Like, this isn't just for sales guys. This is for other, you know, relationships, spouses, family, in-laws, friends. I'm willing to bet you that your spouse is another color than what you are. And I'm willing to bet that when you speak to your spouse, you speak to them in your language, your color, versus their color. You know, opposites tend to attract. And family, you know, you get along more with your color versus, say, another color. And it's about being an effective communicator with all different types of peoples, your friends, your in-laws, everybody. Understanding what they are, you can have a more enjoyable conversation, a more meaningful conversation, a deeper conversation, unless you're talking to a blue, because they're not going to listen to you anyway. But you can get the most out of your relationships if you know their color personality. And this translates over to, you know, your work too, your boss, your coworkers, and the people that report to you. Knowing what their color is helps you to become a more effective communicator and makes your job easier at work, and it gets the people below you more productive. It keeps your coworkers happier, and it makes your boss happier because you know what pushes his or her buttons in the right way and you avoid the wrong ones. And also you get a chance to know yourself. Like, what color are you? Like me personally, I was going through this book and the green was the last one. And I was like, I'm not any of these people. And then it got to the green. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely this. This is exactly what I am. And I wasn't expecting that because, you know, it's rare that you're going to be the very last one. You're like, man, well, I have to be this if I'm not any of the other ones. But it'd be interesting to know down in the comments, what color are you? And when did you discover, when you read the book or watching this, when did you discover what color you were? And if you decide to build your own business or get involved in a business, build a multicolored team. Like, you need that red that wants to beat all of your competitors. You need that blue to get the morale boosted up and to come up with good ideas and have the red or the green implement them, and have the green there to run the numbers to make sure that the red and the blue don't run directly into a brick wall. And the yellow's there too because they want to make sure the team is very cohesive and everybody's working together, and they're always looking at how can I help make this a better team, because if everybody else is happy, then me, the yellow, is also happy as well. And life, you know when to call, you know who to call and when. And I thought I was trying to figure out what that meant. And I thought of one of my, someone that's related to me. They were trying to come up with a name for their child, and they came up with one, and they're like, we need to call someone that is going to give us a straight answer no matter what. Do you think they called a yellow? No, they did not. Do you think they called a blue? No, they didn't. They probably called a red or a green. And the simple fact is that a red or a green is going to give you their honest opinion about that name. You tell them the name, you tell a yellow person that name, and that yellow is going to be like, well, you know, I just think it's a great name, and if you're happy with it, then I'm happy with it. And it's just like, that's not an answer. Like, I know you're just trying to tell me whatever I want to hear. A blue is like, yeah, it's a great name. Anyway, I was doing this, that, and the other, da-da-da-da-da-da. A red or a green is going to tell you, is going to be more honest about the truth of what that name's good or bad. And that's who you want to call. So that's my example of know when to know who to call and when. And also, if you just had a breakup with somebody, are you going to call a red? No, you're going to call a yellow. So guys, tell me what you thought. Did we answer all your questions? Did you learn something new? What stopped you in the past from reaching your financial goals? What types of videos would you like to see next? Please like, comment, subscribe on our channel, and check us out on Facebook, 9 to 5ers. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day. We are here to make you smarter today and richer tomorrow. Thank you.